Welcome to Raw is Harrell Wrestling Talk! And after listening to this, you'll never, ever be the same again. I'm Jacob Harrell.
And I'm Jonathan Harrell, again with no fancy intro like my brother, but we're just going to get right into the headlines. We had a mostly talking Raw, I guess you could say. We did get to see some matches: Rusev, Cesaro, Page, the Dust Brothers, Ziggler, Reigns. All these guys got victories. Bo Dallas, John Cena. But outside of that, like I said, there was a whole lot of shoots, promos going on. What did you think of Raw, Jacob?
It was good. It's not great. I expected a little bit more, kind of trying to build up the Night of Champions. Honestly, we're in the time period now. If WWE had an off season, this is when the off season is, because this is when people start taking time off. This is when people start leaving the industry before the WrestleMania build up. But if we're talking about Raw, the Hall of Fame forum did not need to happen. Nothing came out of that Hall of Fame forum. Ziggler has an amazing entrance with the Intercontinental belt behind him, turns it around. Beautiful. The Bella Twins are still money. And overall, it was really sad, and it hurt my heart to see the Wyatt family job to Cena. What did you think?
I mean, it just, yeah, the Hall of Fame panel took so much time at the beginning, and you're almost accustomed to that now. Like opening Raw, 20 minutes of conversation, and so it's almost like, why are people tuning in to? And another thing, I don't know who Hulk Hogan will say gave a back rub to, but holy cow, he has been on every episode of Raw for like the past couple weeks now. Like SummerSlam, he's been on everything, and so I don't know what he's been what he's been doing or sucking up to, but yeah, outside of that, I did like the Bella Twins. It's this, they're trying to, Stephanie wasn't there, so she was trying. I think they're trying to get her out of that situation and focus back on the actual twins going in a match. So that'll definitely be exciting to look forward to.
Well, one Hall of Famer you didn't see on the Raw Hall of Fame forum was Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he recently said it would be very special to go back to Texas for WrestleMania 32, not 31. Austin hasn't wrestled since 2003. Jonathan, would you be excited for the Rattlesnakes' return?
Here is my thing. We come from the Monday Night War era, when we first started getting into wrestling, and that was, his era on the WWE, and so we were opposite of that. And so, for Austin, I mean, I know who he is, and I think it'd be cool to see him go back, and wrestle one more match or something like that. I think it would be electric and very exciting. But I would rather see The Rock. I could list some other people that I'd rather see Sting. And so, to throw this out there, yeah, it would be cool. But, you know, any return from a Hall of Famer would be great. What's your take on it?
See, if they were going to bring him back, it's a shame because everyone wanted to see the Stone Cold versus CM Punk, and that would have been a fantastic WrestleMania match. I think overall, you kind of were leading to the fact that his big draw would be for the fans, and it would be for the reaction of the fans. It's almost like the Rock's return and the WrestleMania matches. They're not necessarily 5-star matches, but the crowds make it a higher match than it was because the crowds go crazy for it. And he's at that age now where who knows what the match would look like. He stays in shape, yes, but he's a little rusty from the ring, but he would have plenty of time to train for it.
Now, have they announced, is WrestleMania 32, is it going to be at Cowboy Stadium or?
Yep, they've announced we know it's going to be at Levi's Stadium for 31 in San Francisco. Well,
Right.
technically outside of San Francisco, and then 32 will be at Dallas Cowboy Stadium. I'm hoping, I'm praying I will pay whoever it takes to get WrestleMania 33 at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Now, going back to 32, they have to use that jumbo screen. I In a lot of events there in Conseco in Indianapolis, or Bankers Life, I'm sorry, in Indianapolis, they have their huge basketball scoreboard jumbotron, and they didn't use it for the matches, and so I'm curious to see if they would actually incorporate that or not.
I do think they have the ability to raise that up a little bit, but it still would be it's a huge screen. You can't really block that out.
And see, I would almost like them to lower it, get it close, and but then at the same time, then you're all of a sudden any pulled punches are magnified to super size, bigger than you would see at home.
Right. Well, the wide view angles that they get from WrestleMania, so all these amazing shots would be probably it wouldn't be as amazing.
Well, it happened very quickly Monday night. It appeared that the Dust Brothers are turning heel weeks before the Night of Champions pay per view. Is this a good move for the tag team, Jacob? And, really, all the other tag teams besides the Usos are kind of heel right now.
I think it's it's just a new story and a new chapter in the Dust Brothers. I wish they would have kind of departed and went their separate ways, but really Goldust, I thought his return was going to be for one thing, and that was to build Cody Rhodes up and bypass the mid cards and make him into someone that could be in the Hall or not Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, into the main event status. But the way they handled the tag teams, I don't know if they really know where they're going. I think they're just doing this to do something.
Now, I thought it would be an interesting twist to, of course, the Bellas, they're running their course. If the Dust Brothers could somehow feud and split up and want to have a match and it be on the same pay per view and have this huge sibling rivalry type shoots and stuff, I think that would be really cool. Now, just on your opinion, Gold Dust, is he Hall of Fame? Would you say?
Oh man, that's a see. The reason you could say he would be Hall of Fame is because of how revolutionary his character was at a time where it was not Attitude Era esque. I would say no. I don't see him in the Hall of Fame. I could see why people would argue it, but I don't think he deserves the Hall of Fame. Do you?
Um, I don't. I would say yes, just for the fact that it's the Hall of the Fame. It's not how you wrestle. It's not anything. It's
True.
technically how famous you are.
Right, and he is especially he's in good terms, obviously, with the WWE, and he's kind of found that fountain of youth that he honestly looks like he's
Been there.
32.
Yeah, and he's been there forever.
Last week we talked about Dean Ambrose filming WWE Studios' upcoming film, The Lockdown, and it seems WWE's finally written him off in the stories. Rumors say that Ambrose won't be returning till September 20th. Is this the worst possible timing for Ambrose's leave of absence, or is this a blessing in disguise for him?
Um, I think it's a blessing in disguise for Roman Reigns. I think he's going to be getting the most out of it. I do think that it kind of hurts him just for the fact that, I mean, their match, Ambrose and Rollins matches, have been such high matches and just such great to watch, um, that I think that it is kind of it sucks that he's taking it out right now.
hmm And really, it will make his return even bigger because they'll keep him in the storyline somehow with the Shield. But I think it's good for both of them to take a little break, maybe even extend it a little bit longer. Do you see them two as a WrestleMania match?
I don't know about a WrestleMania match. I think that I would like I liked the idea of the lumberjacks kind of keeping them around for at SummerSlam, but I've all along liked the whole idea of escaping each other, not being able to fight, and then come Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, okay, the cage is coming down, you guys have nowhere to run, let's finish it out, and it finished there. Because I would rather see Rollins go up against, say, John Cena at WrestleMania. That'd be somebody that I'd be interested in seeing him go up against.
Now, speaking of that, so just say Brock Lesnar, a lot of people think he will carry it to Mania. If this happens and say Rollins faces Brock Lesnar, gets over as the top person, the top face in the company, will Rollins cash in on Reigns at Mania?
I don't. It depends on how the card is built. It doesn't look like you're going to have an Undertaker, and I think I I'll put it this way: if there's no Undertaker match and there's no Sting match, then the Money in the Bank is getting cashed in.
Okay, that's a very good prediction on that.
Now, anytime you have deleted tweets, basically somebody that tweets and then takes it down real fast, you're going to have rumors that are going to fly because people are screenshotting it instantly before you even have time to react. This week, Ryback tweeted, and I quote, "Going away for a while to get some stuff fixed. Haven't been myself in quite some time," end quote. Later, deleting it, and then the next night at main event, it was announced that Ryback was outdue during an injury. Rumor is maybe we'll see a rebuild of the big guy. What do you take on it, Jacob?
Injury or not, this is probably good for him to take some time off. Ryback's development is really sad because Ryback could have been like Sting, where the Shield came, they kept interrupting him. The Shield had their first match with Ryback. Every time the Shield would come out from there on for a span of about 4 months, all you heard was feed me more, feed me more. And Ryback could have been kind of like what Sting was to the NWO, the one person that could take down the Shield. Now, that said, it was good that the Shield kept going. It was bad that Ryback got to a certain point with John Cena, and instead of let's give Ryback the ball, let's see how far he can run with it as a face, they go, you know what? You're turning heel, and you're going to lose 3 straight times to John Cena, and then we're never going to hear from you again, but you'll still be a great big star. They didn't know what to do with them.
And it's amazing if you look back, just not too long ago, how high he was and had the ambulance match, had some of these matches with Cena, and it was almost I'm gonna call it the Daniel Bryan effect, where they were not seeing the numbers, the buys, I guess, the pay-per-view buys that they were expecting, that they thought should come in, and they were going to blame whoever was in the main card, and you can't blame John Cena, and so it's got to be Ryback. And so I think they tried it. Screw it, we're done. And his character dropped like Fandango.
Mhm. And with the lack of faces, I would like to see a Ryback turn face, get the Feed Me More going again. We've seen in matches in Raw, I believe it was last week, the fans went crazy, crazy for Ryback. After a blockbuster gold mine, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, it's been breaking records in August. Rumors are flying rampant that Dave Batista is going to rework his contract with the WWE and not be a full-time wrestler to end his 2-year deal with the WWE. He's been teasing in interviews he would love a Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania 1 to retire. Should Batista stay in Hollywood and not come back to wrestling?
I mean, that's hard to say. I think, and he's been gone for so long, and usually, regardless of who you are, heel or face, you're gone for a certain amount of time, and you come back. You normally get a positive, over on the crowd. You look at Triple H. He left kind of a heel at the time when his injury hit. He came back and was just huge, popular, and almost a face straight out of the entrance. And so, from what he had, I mean, it was just bad timing, and so I'm not really gonna miss him. Um, And really, that Triple H Batista match really doesn't interest me too much, anyways.
Yeah, and to me, what happened with Batista was CM Punk leaving the company screwed everything up because Daniel Bryan was supposed to be in the Wyatt family, and then you had CM Punk versus Triple H. Then it was supposed to be Batista versus Randy Orton for the belts, and Randy Orton was supposed to lose to Batista. Batista would get a big push and then leave for Guardians of the Galaxy. Everything changed. The fans did not want to see Batista at least in the main event. I think fans were fine with him until they gave him the crown of everything you did before. This is you instead of giving it to Brian, which then they took that and then they made a story out of it.
Or the WWE creative team planned this exactly how it went, and this is how they
No,
planned it from day
no,
one.
no.
Uh,
That's I don't. Do you buy that? Is
it,
that you just
these
being the
are
devil's
high.
advocate? Or
This is WWE creative. These are the top
no,
guys.
no.
Yes or no? Batista Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he'll get in. There's he deserves it. A, B, he's so close with Paul or Triple H, he'll be in there. But come on, don't tell me that
WWE creative,
no,
best in the
that's like saying
world.
okay, Undertaker,
Best in the world.
his loss was that planned or was that something that
They've been
spontaneously
planning
happened?
it for years. They had it dialed down. They even had Daniel Bryan's injury and wedding and
No,
everything planned out. So
no, okay.
WWE creative. Well, you know what, Jacob? I'm afraid I've even got some more bad news for you. For your boy Ziggler. He may have a new opponent for his recently acquired Intercontinental Championship belt. Rumors that Bad News Barrett may be returning for the WWE, and would they be continuing the path that they're on now, or do you see big changes when Barrett returns?
Well, you have to say it correctly first. It's I'm afraid I got some bad news. And he will probably join the feud. They'll make a triangle out of it. They'll do some good matches or so. But there's no way you give it to Ziggy and then you let him drop it. Now, that said, they could pull the angle of he's still the authority's henchman. He's the hitman of the authority like he was when he left. And then you could say, the authority screwed Ziggler and try to build him up a little bit more too, and then have a little bit of a toss back and forth. What do you think? Would that be something you'd be interested in seeing?
Well, I'm actually glad that you said they wouldn't give it to your boy and then take it right away, because I've actually heard on the SummerSlam prediction show that we had that you said there's no reason why they would give it to The Miz just to drop it to Ziggler, even though you're a Ziggler fan. So WWE Creative, let's throw them in there again. This is awesome move by them. Um, I don't know what's going to happen. I think I'm going to say that the title somehow becomes vacant and it's going to be a triangle, kind of like what you were saying. I think they're going to keep The Miz in the picture. Barrett will definitely be right back in the picture when he gets back. They're going to keep Ziggler just because he's so popular right now, where he's gained this, being gone almost popularity. And so maybe there's some dirty play and something goes on, somebody gets screwed over, and they vacant the belt. And you could even throw in a Rusev. I don't know if you'd go another battle royal for the belt, but throwing a Rusev, throwing a Bo Dallas, get some of these other guys in the picture as well.
What disappoints me with these mid card belts, and don't get me wrong, I think the Intercontinental Championship belt's one of the most prestigious belts behind the big gold belt, but they seem like they budget their storylines based on how prestige or how they partake the belt. So like WWE storyline gets all the money, Intercontinental gets okay, a couple $20, and then United States they're like, you know what, you don't even need a storyline, just go out and wrestle.
I don't even know why they have the United States belt. Um, Dean Ambrose defended it maybe 3 times, and if it was like you're saying, the money, they're probably grabbing money out of my wallet right now to feud the creative team on that, which is very little. So
So we're gonna do this. This has not been practiced. So if I go like this, Jonathan, and I go da 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 da, and then it goes da da da. No, that didn't even sound right. Let's try this
What
again.
in the
Hold on.
world?
I'm
This is
trying to do Kurt
awful.
Angle's theme
Well,
song.
that
Hold on.
wasn't. Are you
That was
doing
Melissa.
Rocky's theme
I
song?
know. Hold on.
Because we don't even
I
have
got I
time
got
for
some.
the.
I got something.
You're
Hold
just
on.
gonna
Hold on.
have to go for it. Let's try this
Holy
again.
no! Let me listen to it one time. We're gonna
Listen
edit
to
that
it.
out.
That's cheating. We're not editing anything out. This is live. We're going live each week.
Oh
Now,
my
if this
gosh.
was WWE
Da
Creative,
da
they would have had it fixed.
da 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 da. There you go. And you're supposed to go. You suck.
You suck at
You
reading the
suck. I
headlines
suck at
here.
doing it. Okay. Kurt Angle recently contacted Vincent Kennedy McMahon about his possible return to the WWE after his contract ends with TNA at the end of November. Oh, it's true. It's true. But Vince told him Triple H is in charge of talent relations now, so go talk to Triple H. So after he talks to Triple H is reportedly upset with Kurt Angle that he went over his head to try to get back in the WWE. It looks like Kurt Angle's past with addictions and his relationships will keep Kurt Angle out. Is this best for business?
I don't know if it's best for business. I think this probably happens a lot. I'm sure there's huge egos for all the top guys at WWE as far as in the backstage. And if you're not going to me, or why are you going to him? You should be coming to me. I'm sure it happens all the time. And I would almost like to see a reality show, just what happens on the back, a total divas of the back room. But going back to the topic, I'm disappointed. I would love to see Kurt Angle, and I keep on mentioning. I've said it on Twitter a couple times that we need Jack Swagger to step aside and have another real American come in there and battle Rusev, and I think that would be a great match.
Now, see, Kurt Angle pissed in the wrong Cheerios. Let's just make this. Triple H and him have had issues. Triple H, I've heard all the time, has issues with pushing people when he was younger. And Kurt Angle was the one guy he was supposed to push, and apparently he refused to try to do it. They had the angle with him and Stephanie, and never went over. Kurt went over when Steve Austin allowed him to go over. And I think that that's why he went to Vince, because he knew Triple H didn't have a good relationship with him.
Now, I think that I would like I I don't know. I think that WWE almost needs to have a a board. When you get it dialed in, like going back to egos, Triple H, he's making all the decisions, Your company has grown so much that, Vince McMahon has done a great job over the past years, but this is such a big company now that you can't rely on one person to make all the decisions. It's almost got to be a group discussion, I would think.
Well, it's the Eric Bischoff effect, to where Eric Bischoff, once he got in the story, he was fine, but then it went too far. And you have to have those filters. You have to have those people that were willing to pull you back. Vince has always been that pulling back for Vince Russo, sorry, before he went to WCW. And Triple H, I don't think has that right now.
Now, with the main event squash match that occurred at SummerSlam, many have wondered if Daniel Bryan, if he wasn't injured, if he would have had the same outcome with Brock Lesnar, because it was kind of planned. Lesnar was going to have a title shot in SummerSlam all along. Would you see the landscape, Jacob, if Daniel Bryan was still healthy in wrestling?
Well, that's an interesting topic, because we probably would have seen a couple more of the Kane and Bryan's. I think we might not see as much of the Dean Ambrose Rollins. I think maybe a Bryan Rollins would have happened, maybe. But we was with SummerSlam. I think that Bryan probably would have contained, or would have kept the belt, and he would have dropped it to Lesnar. So that's the answer to that question. Yes, it would be changed. It would have been Bryan and Lesnar. I think he still would have dropped it.
Now, see, it'd be amazing the way that how physical that match was with the suplexes and throwing over the head and landing on, the back, the higher back area, the lower neck area. That it could have really been bad, I think, for Bryant if they would have went with that same exact match type and everything to a T, and maybe the injury may not have shown up, and Daniel would have went on a couple more matches, and I think it would have been a huge disaster.
Can you imagine Brock Lesnar being able to pick up someone that's half the size of him? He would have done F5s where he would have thrown him completely 360 in the air almost. Because I mean, he weighs probably even half of what. So that would have been amazing. And I think you're right. He could have really hurt Daniel Bryan if he wanted to.
And the thing too is, if they were to, keep that, I don't know where they would have went after the fact, and I still feel like I don't know where they're going, because you can't just have a horrible squash match like that, and then the very next pay-per-view, John Cena go out there and be competitive and have a couple 2 counts and be close.
Right. And the squash that was SummerSlam with John Cena is this gasoline that's been dumped on this fire. And with Daniel Bryan, I don't think it would have been as much gasoline because John Cena, I can't remember the last time he was in a squash match. It probably hasn't been since 2006 or something like that. Not even then, probably 2004. So I don't think Bryan, it would have been as big of a deal if he had a squash match as it was John Cena.
Well, all we know is WWE Creative's got something special planned for you, Jacob.
All right, for our special segment this evening, we have the executive and media director for Heroes and Legends Professional Wrestling. It's Sean Kaleta. Heroes and Legends 4 will take place Saturday, September 13th at Fort Wayne's Fun Dome in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They have a fan fest, and that opens at 2 p.m., and the bell rings at 7:30. Many stars will appear from Mean Gene Oakland to Al Snow, especially with I guess he'll have his head. Bob Hardcore Holly, Carlito, and the champion Drew Skills, and more. This is all starting at $15. Sean, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, man. Heroes and Legends 4 is almost here. I tell you what, I can barely contain myself. The fans are excited about it, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Okay, so can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure. My name's Sean Kaleta. I'm the Heroes and Legends Executive and Social Media Director. It's a fancy title for I do a lot of different things. I've been with Heroes and Legends now for a few years. Before that, we were the EWF, the Extreme Wrestling Federation. We had our final EWF show in Bluffton, Indiana. At that show, Drew Skills was the EWF Heavyweight Champion. We actually rebranded and we took back the EWF Championship, and Drew Skills became our first Heroes and Legends Champion at that show, and we've been going strong ever since. We're looking at our 4th show as Heroes and Legends Wrestling.
Now, how did yourself actually get into the wrestling industry?
Well, it's actually a funny story. I got some free tickets to a midget wrestling show, and I thought it would be, yeah, that's what I said. I laughed. I thought it would be absolutely hilarious. Well, I went, and I was absolutely surprised to see the level of talent that these guys had. The guy running the show, Jason Maples, I ended up talking with him. We had a few things in common. The next thing I know, I am actually filming the EWF shows. So I started out as a camera guy, and essentially I have a background in graphic design, and once I let Jason know about all that, things kind of evolved. I started doing the audio, and I started creating intro videos for the wrestlers along with that, and as time has gone by, I've been blessed with the opportunity of having more responsibility behind the scenes, and the rest is history. Like I said, my title, I'm Jack of all trades. I do just about everything and anything to make sure that the show runs smooth and that the fans have the best time of their life.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about Heroes and Legends? Obviously, this is the 4th event. Can you tell us a little bit of what happened previously for the other 3 events?
Oh man, we have had such a great time. Drew Skills, like I said, Drew Skills, story for another day, has been our Heroes and Legends champion since day one. We have done shows everywhere from the Fort Wayne Fun Dome, which this is our return. It's where Heroes and Legends 3 took place, to Parkview Field, the home of the Fort Wayne Tin Caps minor league baseball team. We have done shows in many different places. We have many different places to come in the future. We have a lot of things going on behind the scenes right now to reach more people and let more fans have an opportunity to come in, visit the heroes of today, see the legends of yesteryear and some that are still current as well, and have an opportunity to do that without a lot of them telling to us we might be going to them. So we've got a lot of plans in store for the future. The past has just continued to build. It's built our reputation. We have a huge fan base now, lots of followers on all sorts of social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we are everywhere. And we just continue to grow, show after show.
Now, talking about the show for September 13th, we have the doors opening at 2 for the Fan Fest. What kind of all goes on during the Fan Fest?
Well, the Fan Fest is basically our kickoff. Everybody that buys a Fan Fest ticket, the Fan Fest is kind of a separate entity from the actual show. You have the ability to buy just a Fan Fest ticket. You have the ability to buy just a show ticket or a combination of the two. And throughout the Fan Fest, people will be able to see different vendors from many different places, selling everything from wrestling memorabilia to food to art. We have a fantastic artist that we use consistently. His name is Chad Engel. You can find him at Chad Engel Art on Facebook. And he does a lot of caricatures of current and former wrestlers. And also, it's an opportunity for the fans to get up close and personal with all of our heroes and our legends. So these people will have tables set out with their merchandise. You can buy T-shirts, 8x10s, autographs, have your picture taken, stop by to shake hands and talk a little bit. It's a great opportunity for the fans to get close to the people that they've watched growing up, people that they watch today. It's a unique opportunity, and it's one thing that sets Heroes and Legends apart from a lot of other independent wrestling organizations, is it gives you a chance to get closer than you ever thought you could. And it's huge. And that goes on until just about an hour before bell time. So you have all day long to spend at the venue. While that's going on, we actually have Fan Fest matches. So while you're going around meeting all these legends and meeting all the Heroes and Legends roster and having a lot of fun, you'll be able to watch wrestling matches. So even if you're just coming for the Fan Fest, you're still going to see some great professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm. So let's go off a little bit on the Fan Fest. So the actual matches itself, what kind of matches are we going to have here at Heroes and Legends 4?
We are going to have quite a few, actually. Of course, our Heroes and Legends Heavyweight Championship is the highlight of the evening. That is our main event. Going to be our current Heroes and Legends Heavyweight Champion, Drew Skills, is going to be up against Carlito. These two have not wrestled together. As far as I know, they have not wrestled in any organization yet, so this is going to be very interesting to see what happens during this match. I know that Drew, despite what I think of him, he is a great person when it comes to studying his opponents. He will sit down and watch hours and hours and hours of tape studying his opponent. It's actually, it blows my mind how prepared he gets for his matches. So that one's actually going to be the headliner of the night. ECW legend Tommy Dreamer is going to square up against Big Russ Jones. I don't know if you've ever seen Russ Jones in action, but this guy is an absolute monster. He's huge, he's quick, he's powerful, and I think Tommy Dreamer is going to be in for a little bit of a surprise. Tommy Dreamer with a hardcore background, I think he is possibly going to underestimate Russ Jones, but I'll tell you what, Russ Jones has a ton of fight, and I can't wait to see that one. If there's still a ring standing after that match is over, then we may get to see the main event. Also, our Heroes and Legends tag team titles are on the line as well. All the gold is up this time. Jake Oman and Scotty Young, the Main Street Youth, are going up against the BWO. This one is going to be out of this world. Jake Oman and Scotty Young have so much energy, which is only going to be matched by the BWO. I can't quite wait to see how this is going to work out. Troy Miller has stated that he is going to be around for this particular match. Not quite sure what's going on with that, but I know Troy has been hungry for the Heroes and Legends gold since day one. So apparently he's going to be there, whether backstage or in the crowd, I'm not sure. But he's going to be watching this match too. He has consistently watched and learned and studied, and he knows what he wants, and he's trying to get there. So he's studying his opponents, and I don't know why he's studying this particular match, but we'll have to wait and see. Troy can be a little bit unpredictable, especially with Miss Liz there by his side. She's a wild one. Got to watch her. Very sneaky. In a battle of the Beast versus the Monster, Congo Kong versus Gangrel. Gangrel, absolutely a legend, in phenomenal shape, ready for anything. Putting these two guys in the ring is such a mishmash of emotions. Congo Kong is huge, virtually indestructible. He doesn't care what's in his way. He's got that primal instinct of just tearing through whatever's in his way to get the goal accomplished. In this particular instance, Gangrel is in his way. I can't wait to see. I've never seen Congo Kong scared. I've never seen fear. And we'll have to wait and see if we see that in this match on either side. I think when Gangrel and Congo Kong are standing in the ring together, I think Gangrel might realize what he got himself into. And, we'll see what happens with that. Next on the list, Tracy Smothers versus Sugar Dunkerton. I'll tell you what, if I was Sugar Dunkerton, I would be a little bit leery of stepping in the ring with a man who wrestled a bear. Okay? I mean, I have never wrestled a day in my life, and if my first match I ever had was against Tracy Smothers, I would seriously probably be rethinking that a little bit. Tracy Smothers hasn't lost a beat in years. Sugar Dunkerton is not only entertaining and athletic, but he knows what he's doing in the ring. Again, another exciting match that people are really wanting to see. We've had Sugar Dunkerton numerous times, and he has never failed to impress. So we're really, really looking forward to that one, too. Next on the list, Robert Howard, Hardcore Holly versus Karn Alexander. People that follow independent wrestling know that Bob Holly doesn't get around much. Karn Alexander has been a phenomenal up-and-coming wrestler. He has had tons of accomplishments so far. Again, another person who's trying to work their way to the top and be the champion. He was kind of called out by Karn Alexander. Hardcore Holly is not one to turn down a challenge, so he is kind of stepping out of his comfort zone, and he is appearing at Heroes and Legends Wrestling with the express purpose of ending the career of Karn Alexander. We all know Hardcore Holly is truly that. He is hardcore, he is tough, and he will fight his way through anything that's in his way as well. Karn Alexander, same frame of mind. They're both ready to rip each other's throats out, and it's just a matter of seeing which one does that first. Yeah. So this one is going to be to quote the great JR, it's going to be a slobber knocker, and I really hope that everybody is present to see it because it's probably going to be one of the biggest matches of the evening. Next, we have a four-way dance. Okay. Anthony Tolatelli versus Andrew S. Kirk versus Roderick Street versus Eli McFly. Anthony Tolatelli is basically a Samoan superstar. He is absolutely incredible. At Heroes and Legends 3, he won a roster spot at another four-way meeting. So Anthony Tolatelli is one of the newest members of our roster, and he is here to prove that he deserves it time after time. Andrew S. Kirk, if you don't know anything about him, give him a look up on Facebook. He is an odd one. He's basically the 40-year-old virgin in a pair of wrestling tights. He's pure, he's wholesome, and he can fight. So I'm very interested to see how he works out in this group of people, especially with somebody like Roderick Street, EWF, former XA champion, very accomplished wrestler. He takes no prisoners. So out of these three so far, I think it would be a great match if it was just those three, but we're also introducing Eli McFly. Eli McFly, Back to the Future, that's Eli McFly. He is very talented. He's a high flyer. He's quick on his feet, and he thinks throughout the match. You can always watch him and know that he's thinking of what he's going to do next. He's weighing his opponents, and he's finding out what the best way is to get to that moment and pin somebody for the win. So basically in this match, Anthony Tolatelli, I think, has the most to prove. He's going to be up against a lot of opposition with the other three competitors. And that pretty much, at the moment, pretty much wraps up our main card for the event. And like I said, that's our main card for the evening. That's not even our Fan Fest card. So there's going to be a lot going on, a lot of matches. It's going to be very entertaining, and people are definitely going to get their money's worth.
Now, like you said in the past, this is the fourth one, and for things like this, who really benefits the most from the matches? Would you say it's the legends, or the up and coming stars, or is it kind of just equal?
I would say it's equal. The people that come to our shows, they don't come just to see the heroes. They don't come just to see the legends. They come to see everybody. In the long run, I think the benefit is for the members of the Heroes and Legends roster, because they are learning from the people of whose shoes they eventually want to be in. So they're learning how it's going to be. They're learning how tough these guys are, and girls. And so I think the most benefit, if I had to actually choose, I think the most benefit would be for the Heroes and Legends roster and our invited independent wrestlers from other organizations too.
Mm-hmm. Now, with Drew, he's the champion, and you've talked about him a lot, obviously. He's an important role with Heroes and Legends. He'll be our next guest for next week. Can you tell us a little bit more about him?
The only reason that I mentioned Drew is because I'm obligated to. He is our current Heroes and Legends heavyweight champion and has been so for a very, very long time. True skills, I don't. It's not a secret that I don't care for Drew's skills. Drew's skills is, for lack of better terms here, he's mean. He's devious. Every time he comes out to the ring, he scares kids. He is currently the face of our company. He's not a fair individual. And I'm trying to be nice here, especially since you have him on tomorrow. I mean, heaven forbid, I don't want to have him. Yeah. Drew is our champion, so, I have to hand it to him. He's been our champion now since before Heroes and Legends 1. That's an extremely long time. I mean, we're talking pretty much a couple of years. I would love nothing more than to see Drew's skills leave at the end of the night without that gold around his waist. Carlito may just be the one to do it. There is an obvious difference in the two competitors between Drew Skills and Carlito. I'm really hoping that Drew Skills underestimates Carlito enough to where at the end of the night, Carlito is leaving with the Heroes and Legends championship. But that's to be seen. You know, Drew Skills is devious. He's cunning. Sometimes he doesn't always play by the rules, and I think that has been his biggest benefit thus far. But like I said, at this point, he is our Heroes and Legends heavyweight championship, and I do have to respect that fact, even though I don't have to respect the man. So that's pretty much the long and short of the Drew Skills scenario right there.
Now with so many different legends, you know, coming through, has there been somebody that you've actually got to meet that's just left you, you know, starstruck?
You know what? It happens on occasion. I'd have to say, with complete honesty, the very first time that I would say the most that I've ever been starstruck, was at Heroes and Legends 1. We had the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I had the ability to pick up Ted from the airport. I got to actually spend a couple of days hanging out with him. We got to appear on our local news here in Fort Wayne. They did a big interview with Ted, and we got to spend some great quality time together. I got to hear some stories. I got to learn a lot of things, and I would say that was probably the best and most memorable for me. Second on the list is Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That guy was the greatest guy to hang out with. Got to spend a lot of time with him as well. But I would say out of everybody so far, those are the two that I've pretty much been the most starstruck with. The funny thing is, you know, it happens to everybody, whether they want to admit it or not. But the thing about these guys is they make you feel so comfortable that after 5 minutes, it's like hanging out with a friend. So, you know, it's really cool, and you know they're used to people, you know, being like that and being starstruck. But it takes it to a whole new level, and you know, these guys have a lot of class, a lot of character, and it's always a good time, no matter who it is. So, yeah, there've been a couple. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Does Hacksaw always do his hey-o, or is that something he only does in character?
He's a nut in real life. We went into a Barnes and Noble. We had some time to kill before we had to be at one of our shows, and he found a couple copies of his book while we were in there looking around, and he thought it would be funny if he autographed them and took them up to the counter and said, now they're worth more money. It ended up not doing that, of course, but yeah, he's a riot. He's the same guy in real life as the character he portrays.
Real quick before we end, you've been around, obviously, the wrestling business for a while, and you're the social media director. How has technology helped promoting events like Heroes and Legends in ways that haven't, even 5 to 10 years ago, hadn't had the access to do?
Oh, man, the landscape has changed so much. I mean, what used to take lots of money, lots of time, you know, printing out flyers and traveling all over. Social media has really, you know, in terms of independent wrestling in general, has really made everything so much more accessible. Now, you know, the great promoters such as ours, Jason Maples, and many others out there, still take the time to print flyers and hang flyers out. But social media has brought everyone so much closer. It's a click of a button now. As Heroes and Legends, we are on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We recently started a brand new Instagram account. We have reached so many people, and like I said, money-wise is probably the biggest deal. We have reached so many more people for so much less money now, and word has spread, you know, with us in particular, all across the globe. We have fans that have come from as far away as Manchester, England, to come to one of our Heroes and Legends shows. Those people would probably have never known about us if it weren't for social media and the evolution of the internet. So social media is absolute key. You know, any promoter out there is using social media, and as well they should be. But it's the biggest type of promoting that we have available to us. So it's indispensable. It's absolutely incredible how things have evolved.
Now, speaking of that, where can the fans find Heroes and Legends on social media?
You can find us on Facebook at Heroes and Legends Professional Wrestling. You can find me at Heroes and Legends Executive and Media Director Sean Kaleta. It's all on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at Heroes and Legends. There's no D there. It's Heroes AN Legends. You can find us on Twitter. And now you can find us on Instagram at Heroes and Legends Professional Wrestling as well. So we are everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. Again, we'll just plug it one more time. It's Heroes and Legends 4. It's going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Anybody in Ohio, that's just right across the state from you. FanFest opens at 2 p.m. The bell rings at 7:30. Remember, all the stars will be there. Come, enjoy yourself. It only starts at $15. Sean, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. We very much appreciate it.
We will be there. We're getting our tickets actually the Friday, so we will hopefully meet you there.
Absolutely. I'll be waiting for you.
All right. Well, thanks again, Sean.
Thank you.
Well, I am extremely excited to go to the event on that Saturday. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and anybody that's even remotely close, that sounds like a fantastic time full of wrestling. Get to meet people. The going and meeting the actual superstars and getting your photos is only $15. So you really can't beat that value.
Yeah, especially like you said for the price.
Right. You could go to WWE and spend that much and not meet anybody.
Well, moving into the third and final part of our show, we'll touch on what to watch in the WWE Network. We had some, I guess, new episodes of Monday Night War, so who knows what time, day these are airing on. It just seems like, hey, let's throw one out there. Did you get to watch any of them yet, Jacob?
Yeah, actually, I made my fiance Katie watch the NWO, and she actually was fascinated by it. It was kind of surprising. She kept saying, "Man, Hulk Hogan's just like John Cena. This is just like John Cena now." And I was like, the mediocre fans can realize the fall of Cena and how big he could be if he went heel.
Yeah. And so I've watched two. I just found out right before we got on the show that there's another episode, Embracing the Attitude. So I haven't got to see that yet. But all in all, I'm liking it. I hate that it's moving a little fast because, we're both WCW guys. And so as long as they could draw this out as long as possible, I'd definitely be happy with that.
Yeah, and like we were actually talking before we went on the air, it needs to be in chronological order, kind of go with it without building stuff too much. But like you said, they really need to have something that tells the schedule of what's on the network for the week instead of, oh, we change it today, we changing it today. They need to kind of plan ahead.
Now on the WWE shop, they had a couple new items on there. Every week we just want to throw out that we're affiliated. Go to the WWE shop through our link on our website. Buy whatever you want, and you're going to support our show, and we thank you for it. They had some new Dust Brothers shirts. They had Stardust and Gold Dust shirts. I didn't really, I don't know. I'm not the biggest, as we kind of talked earlier. I'm not the biggest Dust Brothers fans, but I guess if that's what you want, then by all means.
They could get it, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I still would rather have a Stephanie McMahon T-shirt over the Dust Brothers.
Now I was actually looking. They had some. They actually have some really funny like baby outfits, and just some of the sayings that they have. I should have wrote it down. Unprepared here, but it had like.
Bo Dallas, please. Tell me Bo Dallas.
I don't know if there was a Bo Dallas one, but there was maybe a Zack Ryder one, something about I do or something like that. And so I was actually like, that's actually pretty good. So if you get a chance, check the baby gear out for the WWE shop. Birthdays and anniversaries for the week. We actually had a couple that came to mind. On Sunday the 24th, Vincent Kennedy McMahon turned 69, which I was really shocked about, that he's almost 70. And so that's, crazy to think about. Also, Wednesday earlier this week on the 27th, we had your boy, the great Khali. He turned 42.
Only 42?
Only 42. Vince McMahon probably moves a little bit faster at almost 70. And on the same day, though, we had Sergeant Slaughter, 66. So a couple aging stars there.
For our anniversary week, we have August 26, 1991. Randy, the Macho Man, I guess it's Macho Man Randy Savage, and Miss Elizabeth had their wedding at SummerSlam. Jonathan, do you remember what happened at that wedding?
I want to say the only thing I can remember is Jake the Snake had a snake come out of the one of the presents.
Yeah. So that's a good call. I didn't know if you'd remember that or not.
I'm on it. That's the only thing. It's a good thing you asked that because I couldn't have told you anything
Say
else.
I do. Who knows? It's the snake popped out.
Now, we're going to go ahead and do an off-wrestling topic. Last 2 weeks have been movie-based. We're getting geared up for the NFL season, and so we're going to go early Super Bowl favorite picks. Before the season even starts, are you going chalk, you going the number one team, or are you going with an underdog, Jacob? Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year?
That's a great question. I have the Broncos returning, and I do not actually have the Seahawks returning. I think they will lose, and I honestly, this is kind of some people consider this a dumb pick, but I have the Saints actually beating the Seahawks, and I think the Seahawks wrote some momentum, but I think that they're not going to return.
Well, I think on that NFC side, it's basically whoever's playing at home is going straight through the playoffs, which definitely won't be the Cowboys. They won't have no home field advantage, so sorry, Dad, on that. I am going. I want to say the Broncos. That's easy. I think that's a easy pick. So I'm going to go outside of that, and it kills me to say it, but I'm going to go with the Patriots. That, like I said, it kills me to say it, but trying to go different than the Broncos, I'm going to go with the Patriots.
I am ashamed to call you my brother on that one. That should be my challenge right there, but I'm not going to go there.
Well, heading right into the leaving thoughts, I'm going to give you 30 seconds and see what you got for the week.
Okay. My challenge goes out to all the fans that have a negative attitude towards the product. Yes, sometimes the product sucks. Yes, there's too much product placement, even through the WWE. But it's all a state of mind. If I go into a meeting and I say, this is going to be the worst meeting ever, of course it's going to be the worst meeting ever. If you look and say, you know what? We have Dolph Ziggler right here. We have John Cena. Of course John Cena's going to win. But you know what? I'm going to be happy, and he is going to win. Then you'll be happy that he wins. Stop being negative, guys.
Well, I'm not even going to set the clock for mine because I was rudely interrupted last week when I tried to defend Hulk Hogan, and this is supposed to be 30 seconds of silence, but since I am going to go a little over, I'm going to ask for your help here, and you're going to prove my point, Jacob, and this is going to be perfect. Okay. I am sick and tired of the Ice Bucket Challenge, and I'm going to prove why I'm sick and tired of it. So, Jacob, what is the Ice Bucket Challenge?
It is a challenge that raises awareness to ALS.
What does ALS stand for?
ALS, oh gosh, dang it.
You don't know because nobody talks about it. How much money gets donated to ALS? Let me tell you what ALS stands for, Jacob. Anaerobic lateral sclerosis.
I knew
probably
that.
butchered that name, but that's what it stands for. And you don't figure that out by dumping ice cold water over your head. People spend more money on buying a bucket and buying ice than actually donating to the cause. And so I am outlawing it. I'm never doing it. And before we came on the show, Princess doesn't know this yet, but we donated some money to the cause to build awareness so people can bash all they want. They can, hate that, this is a good cause. Well, bad publicity is bringing awareness as well. So I'm over it. Ice Bucket Challenge. It's Slack-a-vision. Something like that. That's what it's called. Look that word up too, Jacob. I know you're not familiar with that.
I don't know if I want to look that up on my school iPad.
It's got to be. It's Slack-a-vision. Slacker vision. Maybe that's what it is.
My new challenge is for a fan to challenge Jonathan Harrell.
Go ahead, challenge it.
The Ice Bucket Challenge and make him donate more money.
It's funny that you said that because I've actually heard my boss's daughter, who is in 2nd grade, is going to challenge me, and I'm going to make her cry because I'm going to say no. That I'm against it, and I can't be a hypocrite. You want to watch me dump water over my head, I'm fine. But if it's going to be called the Ice Bucket Challenge, I'm passing.
Thank you for listening to Harrell Wrestling Talk. Listen and watch our next podcast every Friday. We would love to have fan interaction, so follow us at Twitter at HWT Podcast, like us at Facebook at HWT Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, HWT Podcast. Feel free to give feedback, corrections, and any advice is always welcome. We would love to have sponsorships. Contact us at Harrell, Harrell, Wrestling Talk at Outlook.com. Last advice we will give you before we leave: if your girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, or husband says you watch too much wrestling, tell them that's impossible. Till next time, Wrestling World, keep listening and keep watching.